There is no such thing as a perfect architecture. There are only trade-offs. If you can't tell me what exactly are you sacrificing in your design, then you don't actually understand what you are building. I have sat in boardrooms for years, and the biggest mistake I see is the perfection trap. Teams try to build the ultimate system. They want it infinitely fast, 100% secure, and costing almost nothing. In the real world, that is a fairy tale. As an architect, your job isn't to find the best solution, it's to find the least bad set of trade-offs for your specific goal. In 2026, the top standard isn't about knowing every single cloud feature, it's about the decision integrity. It's about knowing that every time you say yes to one requirement, you are effectively saying no to another. Today, I'm breaking down the 4 most common battles in the IT architecture and one invisible battle that separates the juniors from the veterans. If you want to move from an engineer to a strategic leader, you need to master the art of the trade-off. Let's look at the first battlefield. This is the most visible trade-off: performance versus price. Every developer wants the fastest servers, but every CFO wants a smaller cloud bill. The architect's mindset here is about finding the point of diminishing returns. I once saw a project where the team spent 3 months trying to reduce a database query from 200 milliseconds down to 20 milliseconds. Technically, it was impressive, but the cost to achieve the 10x boost was going to triple the monthly infrastructure bill. As an architect, you have to ask, does the business actually care? If that query is for a monthly internal report, 200 millisecond is already instant for a human. Paying triple for 20 milliseconds is a bad architectural decision. However, if that query is for a live payment engine, then that cost is a necessary investment. The strategy here is you must define your performance ceiling. If you don't know the good enough threshold for your speed, you will over-engineer the system until the budget kills the project. An architect doesn't build the fastest system, they build the right system for the business budget. This is the most famous battle in computer science, and it's the one you will fight every time you build a global system. It's the CAP theorem, C-A-P. It tells us that in a distributed system, you can only have 2 out of the 3: consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. This is the acronym for CAP. Since we can't get rid of network partitions, the real battle is between consistency and availability. Imagine a global app where an user in Dubai updates their profile. Do you wait every single server in the world from London to New York is updated before telling the user success? If you do, your app will feel slow and heavy because of the distance. So here you are choosing consistency. Or do you tell the user success immediately and let the servers sync up over the next few seconds? That makes the app feel lightning fast, but there is a small window where different users might see different data. Here you're choosing availability. If you're building a social media like button, speed is everything. It doesn't matter if the count is off for a second, but if you're moving money, you can't trade away consistency. You have to accept the latency. The strategy here is categorize your data. Don't try to make everything perfectly consistent. You will break the laws of physics. User experience data to the fast lane and financial data to the strict lane. In 2026, there is a new game-changing tool every single week. Your developers will always want to use the newest, shiniest tech. But here's the trade-off. Innovation requires risk. If you use a brand new, unproven framework for your core business engine, you are trading away your sleep for the next 2 years. Because if the tool has a major bug or gets abandoned, you are the one who has to explain the downtime to the board. On the other hand, if you only stay with safe tech from 10 years ago, you are trading away the company's competitive edge, and you'll be stuck with high maintenance cost and a talent pool that doesn't want to work on old systems. The strategy here, I follow the 80-20 rule for innovation. 80% of your architecture should be built on the boring technology, but these are proven, stable, and well documented. The other 20% is where you innovate. This is your experimental zone. If the 20% fails, the ship doesn't sink. This allows you to stay modern without being reckless with the company's future. Every department in your company thinks they are special. They want custom features and custom integrations. As an architect, you will be pressured to say yes to everyone. But every custom feature you add is a tax on your future. Every time you deviate from the standard way of building, you are adding complexity that your team has to support forever. I have seen elegant architectures that were so customized that only the original creator understood them. When that person left, that system became a black box that everyone was afraid to touch. The trade-off here is between short-term happiness and long-term health. And my strategy is be stingy with customization. Your goal should be architectural minimalism. Before you add a new tool, ask, can we solve this with what we already have? Because every piece of tech you don't add is a win for long-term stability of the company. Simple is hard to build, but it's the only thing that scales. This is the most important battle that determines your legacy. Most engineers only focus on day one cost, the effort it takes to build and launch the project. They want to hit the deadline, get the win, and move on. But a principal architect focuses on day two cost. This is the invisible trade-off. If you take a shortcut on day one to meet a deadline, like skipping automated test or using a quick fix, you are taking out a technical loan. Eventually, that loan will come due with a very high interest. On day 2, day 200 or day 2000, your team will spend all their time fixing the day 1 mistakes instead of building new features. You have traded the speed of launch for the agony of maintenance. My strategy, you must make these invisible costs visible. When a manager asks you to just get it done by Friday, show them the trade-off. Tell them we can launch on Friday, but it will increase our maintenance work by 30% for the rest of the year. When you speak this way, you are no longer just an engineer. You are the guardian of the company's time. Being an architect isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the most honest person in the room. It's about having the courage to look at the stakeholder in the eye and say, we can have it fast or we can have it cheap, but we can't have both. Here's the path I recommend. When you start speaking the language of trade-offs, your career changes. You stop being seen as a technical resource and you start being seen as a strategic advisor. You are no longer just building a software. You are managing the risk and the future of entire organization. Technologies like AI and the cloud will change every few years, but the logic of sacrifice for gain is evergreen. Thanks for watching. I'm Gokul and I'll see you in the next one.